I think something that we get, particularly in Dorian Gray, but also maybe a little bit in the song too, is hedonism and aestheticism are different things, but they get mixed up. And they're neighbors. They're close neighbors. But hedonism is very specifically the pursuit of pleasure and beauty without regard for moral consequence. And aestheticism is simply enjoying art for the sake of art without deeper influence. So I think something that's interesting, and I feel like you kind of see this in Dorian Gray, the idea of making a person the object of your aesthetic experience becomes problematic because that there's moral consequence in that. But when it's this like... And that's the song. But when it's like a painting, it's like, great, I can enjoy this and I can pursue enjoying more art without really hurting anybody. But when I start rejecting moral consequence, I have moved away from aestheticism and moved into the world of hedonism, and that's where it becomes a problem.
So I should bring this song back when we do hedonism, is what you're saying.
That would be such a fun topic. We should do that.
Putting it on the list for season 2.
But I think it is interesting, this idea of, I'm so furious at you for making me feel this way, but what can I say? You're gorgeous. And again, it is interesting because it's a person, and this song to me kind of captures that first moment of like being attracted to someone. And I think we hear commentary about this, and like, you know, I remember like when Jennifer Lopez like was getting married to a new person every couple of years, and people had a lot of criticisms, and like if a man was doing it, they wouldn't have those criticisms. But the idea of falling in love is really fun. Staying in love is a lot of work. And I think that is kind of what the song is getting at, of like, oh, this is fun. I'm so mad at you because now I have to like know like that I can't have you, or I have to like you but like it's just like, it's that fun kind of, it's kind of a poppy bouncy song, but
that's serious. She does this again. She did it again. Oops, she did it again. Thanks, Brittany.
But it's not like some of her other songs where it's kind of about being in a relationship or another person. It's very shallow,
and it is lighthearted. Like even though the lyrics are really negative to what you're saying, Jodi, like I think unless we do that exercise and really highlight the positive and negative, like you don't come out of this song thinking it's overwhelmingly negative. Like it feels like she says these negative words in a very lighthearted way. Yeah. I think she has a giggle in here too.
It's satire.
Right. But she has a giggle in here at some point as well. And she's just like,
when she wants to go home to her cats. Ugh.
It's like a crush. It's like the ultimate like first time.
You mean it's like Enchanted?
I knew it was coming.
Oh my gosh.
Setup. The setup.
Because I raised my hand. You know when I raise my hand, I'm making an Enchanted or a musical reference.
I was like, oh my God, am I about to do a layup for you?
You did it. Teamwork.
Solid assist.
Jen, you brought up the line, I'm so furious at making me feel this way. It has nothing to do with aestheticism, but I was like, girl, you are responsible for your own emotions. This person is not. But you also brought up the double standard of women and men and the difference, you know, who is having this conversation. I don't think we're used to hearing a woman say these things to a man. You're gorgeous. Like that is not typically something that we hear women say to men. We don't often sit and praise a man's beauty. We often have men praising a woman's beauty, which I thought was interesting. So if you read this from a man's perspective, it's, I mean, I'm like, I mean, it makes me want to vomit. But
it's true. It's kind of like one of those things, like, I feel like we've brought this up in the past also when we talk, it's like the kind of things that women or girls would say to their girlfriends, but like would never like write a song about it or put into work or literature. And actually that brings me to a question for Jen maybe, is that during the aestheticism movement, were there a lot of prominent female artists or writers involved in there also? Because I do think historically men have had the privilege of really sitting there and admiring the beautiful form of the female body or of women. And here you have a woman that is shamelessly gushing over this male form. And it's kind of like a power play in some ways. It's kind of like I can sit here and be like, what's going to happen? What do I want to do? What's the move I want to make? This dude is so beautiful. How do I advance on this? What do I do with this? And it's kind of like a power play.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I know Wilde had like a large social group, shockingly. And I think women were a part of it. I know a huge part of it was Wilde was a homosexual man, and so that was a big part of it too. It was kind of like I wanted to say a safe space for that, but he
not safe.
It didn't work out for him.
He did not really discriminate between admiring men and women.
Yes, exactly. And I think that is maybe where some of the like gender stuff kind of gets interesting, is if you really take aesthetic theory and you want to apply it to people, In some ways that's super problematic, but in some ways it kind of starts to reject gender, because the whole point of aesthetic theory is you're doing it without basically ulterior motives. And this song is interesting in that, because it's, I've got a boyfriend, you're so cool, it makes me hate you so much, it's I wish you were mine, basically. But she's just admiring this person.
Right.
And where that's interesting with kind of gender is, if you take aesthetic theory, I can admire the beauty of any person regardless of gender and not have ulterior motives. Like, just because I say you are a beautiful person doesn't mean I'm trying to get with you, trying to do anything. I can just say
beauty for the sake of beauty.
People are beautiful, which is true.